Welcome back to the Dividend Diplomats YouTube channel. You got your boys here, Lanny and Bert, the Dividend Diplomats. Today, I'm going to talk to you about two stocks in my portfolio, both of which have been getting crushed over the last few weeks. The thing is, though, one stock, I'm loving it now that it's falling. The other stock, not so much. We're going to talk about each of the companies, run them through our screener, and see why I love one and not the other.
Guys, smash that subscribe button. Give us a gosh damn thumbs up because Bert and Lanny said so. Let's get our subscriber count up to 19K, guys. We've been delivering YouTube videos for 4 straight years, and we're now doing, gosh, Bert, video after video after video here for you guys. So let's bring the noise here. Bert's got 2 stocks. One he's liking, one he's not. Which one are you buying? Let's go, Bert.
Yeah, the market keeps flying up, and it makes finding dividend stocks very hard to find, especially the undervalued ones. No matter what, though, Lanny and I are never going to stop digging. We're always looking. That's what we're always talking about here on our YouTube channel. The interesting thing is, though, just because a stock price falls, just because a stock gets smacked after earnings, does not necessarily mean that stock is a buy. Doesn't mean that we're watching it. We've seen that with several companies now. As you've seen, we're not running to buy AT&T. We're not running to buy Leggett and Platt anymore. We're not running to buy Paramount. Just because those stocks are down does not mean we're buying the stocks in our portfolio. This week, we're going to talk about one that I am liking and buying, and one in my portfolio that's fallen. And you know what? I'm just going to keep looking past it and moving on to other areas.
Oh, Bert, guys, yeah, like he said, the stock market is up. The S&P 500 is still up despite some red days last week to finish off on April 5th. Still up almost 10%. But, there's a stock that you're going to see a lot this week just because, hey, this could be a nice opportunity to set for the future long-term growth, prospect from a dividend standpoint and a share price standpoint. Bert, I own both. You own both stocks. I own a lot of shares of both stocks, use both stocks throughout the year, any given month. And my wife's very favorable to one stock as well.
All right, let's rip the Band-Aid off here. One stock, Starbucks, ticker symbol SBUX. You've guessed it. This is the one that I like and I am buying. We talked about it as my top stock pick of the week last week. Starbucks, we continue to love and scoop up a few shares at a time. You're right, Lanny. We do own a lot of this one. My wife, I got her up to 100 shares at the beginning of the year. She was at 93, so we put her over the top to 100. Now I'm building my position in my taxable account. We're up to 31.9 shares of Starbucks. So yes, it is getting very sizable. And these purchases would be in my taxable account.
Take it easy there, Bert. I'm about to start calling you Italian over there the way you're throwing down the gabagool.
Yeah, I know. That's the thing. It's Starbucks just keeps continuing to decline. It's down 7% year to date. It's down 17% over the last 52 weeks. And it's barely up over the last 5 years. It's 13%. It's basically erased all of the gains that it's had over the last half decade.
So if you guys own pretty much, call it 130 gosh dang shares, I mean, 130 shares, $2.28. You got $300 in divvies rolling in every year right now from Starbucks, which is oh so solid. But yeah, down 7% this year, down 17% from last year, Bert. Let's get into some of the DD stock metrics focused on the PE ratio less than the S&P 500, dividend payout ratio preferably less than 60%. Third is a history of growing dividends. You want your passive income stream to grow as you reach financial freedom. And guys, what we've been doing lately is showing the 5-year dividend yield average and to see if the current yield trumps that 5-year average to see if you're getting some margin versus historical pricing.
That's right here. So let's jump right in. Starbucks, their current price is 86.85. Their earnings per share is 406. That gives you a PE ratio of 21.39. Slight discount to the S&P 500, but really the story for Starbucks is how does it compare to its historical average? And that while the 5-year average PE ratio is closer to 50, that's skewed towards one huge year. When you scope out, we've talked about it a few times over the last few weeks, Starbucks 5-year average PE ratio is actually closer to 30 when you do it. So when you take their current PE ratio of 21.3 compared to their average typically of 30, it's showing signs of undervaluation compared to its historical standards.
I dig it, man. I dig it. I dig it. I dig it. Um, Payout ratio, guys, $2.28 dividend, $4, 6x in earnings, 56% payout ratio. So it's in the perfect sweet spot of 40 to 60% for Starbucks. Um, yeah, I mean, still room to grow, still safe to keep paying it. Now, granted, their dividend growth may be the size of Paul going forward.
That's right here. Those 13 years though, now their yield is climbing up to 2.63% now that the stock is down over 7% year to date. So Starbucks over 2.5% yield. I'm definitely loving it at that mark.
Loving it, loving it.
Yeah. I
I
mean,
mean, again, I mean they're yielding well over the 5 year average. Um, it's rare to see them at these current metrics. I know they're battling a lot in China, but I still feel like with cost of living, with inflation, they're still able to pass that on to the consumer. I know I've seen it. I've asked coworkers about it. I think they're on, I think the average quoted price I'm getting from my coworkers is around like $4.50 to $5 for their morning coffee. And I just do one of these.
and there's not one person that says we're giving up our Starbucks. That's the thing. Everybody continues to do it and continues to accept the price increases.
I have yet to see it. But Bert, you had two
Yeah.
stocks on this list.
But
Is this the one that you like then, right?
yeah, Starbucks I like. This one, not so much. UPS, ticker symbol UPS. They're down 4% year to date, down 20% over the last 52 weeks. The story of UPS is they just can't get out of their own way right now. What's really anchoring them down and slowing down their trucks, if you want to call it, is that massive union contract, that massive labor contract that they signed last year. If you recall, they had a huge battle with their employees, and now they're dealing with the consequences of the increased costs and trying to figure out what the heck UPS is going to do. The big news I saw this week, I thought this one was funny. They won the massive USPS contract from FedEx. And I thought that one was fascinating because sure, it's a great headline. You're going to get some revenue from the government, but there also, in my mind, has to be a reason why FedEx was willing to let this contract go. And you probably can't gouge the government in the USPS for pricing. Maybe you can, maybe you can't. I'm not as optimistic that that's going to be a big win for UPS in the same way that some of the viewers out there are.
Oh, I mean, I think I'm sure, you win these contracts based on pricing. So I'm sure there's a nice sweetheart deal that UPS did.
Yeah.
Hey, they've been battling the, logistics department from, Amazon and Walmart for quite a few years now. We'll have to see. I know there should be some cost cutting, some layoffs happening at UPS
Yeah.
to help make up for the increase in expenses. At one point, they were trading, I think, in the mid 140s about a week or so ago. So they've come back up to over the 150 mark. Yeah, they've got a lot of headwinds. There's no
Yeah.
no joke, no ifs, ands, buts about it.
Yeah. And so quickly going through the metrics, their PE is 18.5. Their annual dividend is 652. That gives you a payout ratio of 79.61%. So nearly 20% higher than our 60% threshold. Their dividend growth, their 5 year dividend growth rate's 12%. They've increased for 14 years. But like Starbucks, you can't possibly expect to have strong dividend growth right now, not in this environment.
Now, probably less than 1% you might see here in 2024. Obviously, time will tell there, right, guys? I mean, if you look at the UPS dividend history here, we should be, or they already did announce that, I believe, back in January from 162 to 163. So we probably will see that for the next year or so. But, hey, 4.3% yield now, well over their 5 year average of about 3%. So you're definitely getting the premium on the yield, but the growth more than likely won't be making up for it in the dividend growth department.
No, so you're going through that. And the reason I don't like UPS now is PE ratio is a little high for me for a company that's trying to figure stuff out at 18.48. You'd expect it to be in the low teens from all the news you're getting with them. And that payout ratio of 79.6%. Dividend growth isn't coming soon, but you never know what's going to happen with earnings. I'm not worried about the dividend, but the metrics aren't screaming huge dividend growth potential right now. So I don't like it. I'm not buying this dip. I'm not buying this beaten down from UPS. I'm just going to wait. We have 53 shares. So a little over $8,000 in UPS. I'm just going to hold, see what happens, and then make my decision later on about UPS.
What do you guys think about Starbucks stock and UPS stock? Which stock do you think is the best stock to buy right now? Are you buying dividend stocks here to get to financial freedom, guys? We've been doing this journey for a long time here. How long and how much more do you have on your journey to get to the promised land? Let us know in those comments below.
If you haven't already, subscribe to the channel, give this video a thumbs up, and remember, if you're not with us, you're against us, Jack.
That was Bert and Lanny from the Dividend Diplomats, over and out.